Good afternoon. This is Animal Uncontrol. Welcome to MuttHeads. Today I would like to pursue the topic of service dogs, particularly fake service dogs. I didn't cover everything I wanted to cover in my last video. Also, I want to give a shout out to Chef. She did a segment on it. It was actually quite interesting and also very humorous. She referred to this as the the Assholes with Disabilities Act. Now, I know that sounds very harsh, but she made some good points. One of them was that very few handicapped people actually use service animals. And of course, according to this, again, you service cat fraudsters are toast. It says, as of March 2011, only dogs are recognized as service animals. Dogs, 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 people. Dogs. But it kind of also raises the issue of, it's like, how handicapped do you need to be? Like, does any health problem qualify as a handicap? For example, I'll reveal some of my medical information. My thyroid is screwed up, and I take a pill every day, once every 24 hours. Now, do I really need to take a dog everywhere to remind me of that? I could probably argue, yes, I could get a pit bull from the pound and take him anywhere. Now, what really motivated me to do this, I'd been meaning to follow up on this for a few weeks now, but I spent today at the beach at a state park property, which is truly spectacular. One thing I like about it is there's no pets on the beach. And there's like big signs that say no pets past this point. So I was walking south. Okay, and I actually walked past the state park boundary. And I saw a woman, she was being dragged by a mutt right past the sign that said no dogs onto the state park property. So I circled back later. I did get a photograph of her. I need to start wearing my body cam. The I Hate Dogs host recommended them, and I do also, because we need to start like documenting this. I mean, I had my phone with a camera, but you want to record like covertly, because just to get ahead on the story a little bit, I saw 2 fake service dogs at the beach today, but I'd not confront the owners. I just was not in the mood for an escalating conflict with a nutter, because they do escalate. And anytime you confront a nutter about anything to do with their dog, you have to be prepared for the worst. And I mean, you should be prepared for them to try to murder you, because that has happened. Okay, so it kind of raises the issues. How do you spot a fake service dog? I mean, to the extent that they're all, I guess, like self-certifying. The dog owner gets the last word on whether it's a service dog or not. But, we can point out to other people. So this site here has some good advice. 10 signs that a service dog is actually fake. It's from, Iheartdogscom. Oh, I don't want to go there. Okay. All right. Let's get started. And we've all seen these things. They're being carried or pushed in a cart. Okay, and I've seen this too. You're in a grocery store. Somebody's pushing the mutt in a grocery cart, which is expressly prohibited. That's clearly a fake. The dog can't do anything for its owner when it's in the dog damn cart. Okay, so what does it say? Service dogs are trained in countless different kind of jobs. I realize this is a site that's kind of nominally in favor of this. This isn't a dog hater site. But no matter what their specialty is, they always need to be alert and ready to work. If the dog is being toted around in a purse or getting a ride in a shopping cart, they are unable to perform their duty. There are exceptions. Well, of course, there's always an exception. There's always a loophole that gets Fido off the hook. There are exceptions if a small dog is being held close to a person's chest. Some small dogs are like trained to monitor. Oh, listen to this. This is really good. I love this. Some small dogs are trained to monitor certain bodily functions and need to be kept close to their owner. So, maybe I should send my cat to medical school. Maybe she can monitor my thyroid level and make sure it's like just so. We don't need like human doctors or medical technology. No, just get a dog. That solves our healthcare problem right there. We'll just make all dogs, doctors and nurses, and our Medicare, our medical costs will drop. Stupid. How dumb do these people think we are? Okay, number 2, they're not on a leash. And I saw this too. The second fraudster I saw, there's a guy, he was literally frolicking in the waves with his dog. And yeah, there was no leash on him. Okay, it seems ironic, but you'll never see a highly trained service dog out in public. Yeah, the last time I saw that was like 20 years ago in New York City when the service mutt walked his blind guy right into a scaffold. You'll never see one in public and not on a leash. They're more than capable of staying by their owner, but leashes are used to protect the dog. Always using a leash is part of being a responsible dog owner. So in addition to being a fraud, this guy was like just a, asshole dog owner. They're pulling on the leash. And this is what I saw with the first one. This woman was literally being dragged by this dog. Like he literally dragged her into the park. Okay, because they're always leashed while working, service dogs have impeccable leash manners. They never pull and always stick close to their owner's side. This one wasn't. Dogs used for mobility and support assistance may lean into their harnesses as part of their job. This woman had no mobility issues. I mean, she was just barely strong enough to control the dog, but she had no trouble walking. They don't yank their person in different directions as they feel like it. Okay, here's another good one. They're barking or whining. Some dogs are trained to bark or whine as an alert to warn their owner of an impending medical emergency. Only like a really foaming at the mouth, raving nutter would trust a dog to do something like this. Like a stroke or a panic attack. But besides these infrequent sounds, a service dog would never bark at another dog or whine out of impatience. And I've seen that too. Actually, I was in a grocery store about a month ago and there was a dog in a cart barking. They're sniffing everything. And we've seen this too. All dogs rely on smell more than any other sense. And taking your pet on a walk usually involves a lot of sniffing. When the dog's got jobs to do, those scents are a distraction. Service dogs are trained to stay focused and won't be careening down aisles sniffing everything in the lower shelf. We've all seen that too. Oh, here's another good one. They have indoor accidents. A dog that isn't fully house trained should never be taken into an indoor public area. Actually, no dog should be taken to an indoor public area or even an outdoor public area. For male dogs especially, indoor accidents are not always accidental and instead the dog's way of marking new territory. Whether they did it on purpose or not, urinating or defecating indoors is unacceptable behavior for service dogs. Now, if you go back to this ADA, they say that... Here, this is important. Let me zoom in a little bit. A person with a disability cannot be asked to remove his service animal from the premises unless 1, the dog is out of control and the handler does not take effective action to control it, or 2, the dog is not housebroken. So, if you're in a restaurant, the dog takes a dump on the floor, that's grounds for immediate ejection, even if it is a professionally trained service dog. When there is a legitimate reason to ask that the animal be removed, staff must offer the person with the disability the opportunity to obtain goods or services without the animal's presence. Now, I mean, they would have that anyway. Like, really, nobody wants to keep dog owners out of anything. Just like, smokers can go to bars and restaurants. They just can't smoke while they're there. Dog people can go to the beach and to bars and restaurants. They just can't bring their dogs with them. This really isn't hard to understand. They can't be, but I think this is important too. So, if you observe it behaving like improperly, like I said, if it's out of control, particularly if it bites somebody. So what's it? Oh, they steal food. Okay. Whether it's off the table, out of someone's hand, or something found on the ground. It's a hard habit for pets to break, but resisting temptation is one of the first lessons a service dog learns. They look nervous. Okay. So socialization is a part of service dog training. If the dog in question is a real deal, they'll seem calm and confident no matter what's going on around them. They won't be spooked by loud noises or big crowds, and they won't cower or tuck their tails between their legs because they seek attention. Service dogs know they have a job to do and only have eyes for the person on the other end of their leash. They don't put their noses into other people's space seeking head pats or belly rubs. Again, this goes back to what they say here, okay? Service animals are working animals, not pets. They are not pets. It's a tool used to do a job. Now here's the other one. They're aggressive. Service dogs are trained in protection. Actually, I don't think this is true because I don't believe, I could do a find on here, that, protection dogs are not protected by service dog laws. I mean, you can get a dog for protection. I wouldn't trust a dog to protect me any more than I would trust him with, medical care. But you can get a dog for protection, but those aren't protected by these laws. That's my understanding. Let me see if I can find something here. Now, I don't see anything. But, some service dogs, I don't believe this is true. But it doesn't mean they lash out at other people or animals without being explicitly told to. A dog that is growling, lunging, or showing other signs just goes back to what they say here. It's like if the dog is, basically out of control, like if it's doing something that the owner doesn't want it to do or doesn't need it to do, it can get booted. Of course, define like out of control. It's like the nuisance barker really out of control. It's kind of subjective. So, fake service dogs put unfair scrutiny on the people who actually need their animals for medical or emotional purposes. This goes back to this again, is that, emotional support dogs are not protected, okay? It says here, dogs whose sole function is to provide comfort or emotional support do not qualify as service animals under the ADA. So again, an emotional support dog is just a glorified pet. It's not a service dog. Okay. So, but this is interesting. It says fake service dogs put unfair scrutiny on the people who actually need their animals for, I won't say emotional. And they're an insult to the dogs that go through months of intense training to be good at their jobs. But here's the thing, when I first got into this space, 11 years ago, I was actually in favor of legit service dog work. I even had a link on my blog too, as a dogs in training site. And I don't know if I was like an advocate of it, but I was at least okay with it. But the thing is like, I think at this point, what you're seeing now is, see, the people who supposedly need these things should have been out in front of this. They should have been, you know what? We need like a real like certification program for this. Okay, service dogs need, they need a hard card license and to be registered with the state, because that like shuts down, well, at least most of this fraud BS. There's like marginal cases, like, I could say that I need the dog to help me with my medication, which is stupid, but I could claim that. So I said the service dog reputation is at stake, but the thing is that it goes back to what Shep said with like the Assholes with Disabilities Act, that, it seems that many of these people, even though the quote legit service dog people, really are just dog nutters that use this loophole to take their dog everywhere, right? Yeah, okay, maybe they have a legitimate health problem, but they're just abusing that. Like I could, like if I were a dog nutter, I could say, hey, Fido, I need Fido everywhere 24/7 to remind me to take my pill once a day. I could claim that. And again, I, right, as the dog owner in that scenario, get the last word on it. Okay, Fido's a service dog because I say he is. I need him because I say so. There's no higher authority there. The dog owner is literally the ultimate authority in this scenario. They're higher than the government. Or rather, the government sort of like bestowed that power upon them. They say, you self-regulate, just do whatever you want. So yeah, the service dog reputation is at stake, and I think it's basically trashed at this point. They've had a decade or more to get their acts together on this. It's the same thing like as the pit bull people or even dog owners in general. They've had plenty of time to clean up their acts, and they have not done it. Okay, these like supposedly legit service dog people should have been out in front of this. They should be asking for this certification, system requirement, and not us. Okay, but they're not. Oh, anybody who asks for something like, well, you're an ableist. You hate handicapped people, like you're mean. Yeah, I am mean. So to go back to the incident today, I saw the two obviously fake service dogs, and there were no, and the thing is, I didn't know, I figured they were just cheating. They saw the signs, but they're like, well, I'll just bring Fido here until somebody tells me to leave, because that was my assumption. Because these were so blatantly fake, I didn't think anybody would even try to call them service dogs. So I observed the two, dogs. So I went back. I was leaving anyway, so on my way out, I stopped at the park ranger station, and I said, I saw two dogs on the beach today, and realized this is very clearly marked. And right away, it was two. I think it was a volunteer and a ranger. Boom. They just said, oh, those were service dogs. It's like you weren't there, and I just, like, my head exploded. Like there was gray matter all over the walls. And you know what I said to them? I just said, yeah, if those are service dogs, I'm the Grand Ayatollah. I actually said that to him. And I was so just like outraged. It's insulting. They didn't even ask. It's like, well, did they seem like service dogs, or what were they doing? Or no, service dog, good to go. Okay, they restrict dogs on the beach for a reason, because they piss and shit all over everything, among other things. They befoul the beach, and beaches have been closed due to dog waste. They create serious water quality issues, among other things. They also harass wildlife, like nesting sea turtles. Okay, like if you step on like a sea turtle nest, like you can go to prison, but Fido tears it up. It's all good, because Fido can do whatever he wants. This is an outrage. And what the thing today was, I thinking back, I would have liked to like debate them on it, because again, I'm well versed in these laws, but it's pointless. It's pointless because you know what? They get the last word on everything. And that's it. I think, though, that I'm going to write letters to not just the director of that park, but the park system. I think that we need to start writing our Congress people about this because, griping on the internet, it's a good way to blow off steam and maybe share information. But, real political activism in this space is required. So actually, I'm going to be putting together a draft. Actually, I'll post it to the blog and folks can, copy and paste that, change it as necessary and send it to their congressperson, and maybe it'll have an effect. About 10 years ago, I actually wrote our state park system director about dog noise pollution in campgrounds. And it was, very, civil. And, I didn't get into kill the filthy, stinking mutts or any of that stuff. But I just said, this is a real problem that needs to be solved, right? Because the parks, if the park system is going to make it, it needs to be a place where people want to go. And almost nobody says, oh yeah, I'm going to go there and so I can listen to somebody else's dog bark. No. And actually I sent that in and it got a lot better. There's big posted signs that loud dogs, gone. And, you still hear them sometimes, but it's manageable. Okay. It's not like the nonstop, roar of barking. You might, occasionally hear a couple of yaps, but it's not too bad. Apparently they will kick you out. But yeah, the service dog fraud today, and also the reaction from the park staff. It was totally insulting to the intelligence. It's like handing somebody a $3 bill. It's yellow and it's got a picture of Daffy Duck on it. Oh yeah, that's real money. Oh, that's a real thing. You can spend that anywhere. Unbelievable. Think about it. This is animal uncontrol, and as always, people first.